My name is Emma, and I married into what I thought was a perfect family. Turns out I was wrong. Dead wrong. My husband Daniel comes from money. His mom, Catherine, owns half the buildings downtown. His brother Matthew runs some big company. And his sister Sarah. She married a doctor. They're the kind of people who post pictures of their fancy dinners and call it just a casual Tuesday. Me. I'm a kindergarten teacher. I make crafts with glue sticks and read stories about talking animals. Not exactly their world. From day one, Catherine made it clear I wasn't good enough. But she never said it out loud. That would be too easy. Instead, she did something worse. She pretended I didn't exist. Family photos. I was always accidentally cut out. Birthday parties. My invitation got lost in the mail. Christmas cards. They spelled my name wrong every single year. Emily. Ella. Once they even wrote Daniel's wife, because apparently remembering Emma was too hard. Daniel always said the same thing. Mom doesn't mean it. That's just how she is. Don't take it personally. But how do you not take it personally when someone treats you like a ghost? This went on for 4 whole years. 4 years of biting my tongue. 4 years of pretending everything was fine. 4 years of watching my husband choose his mother over me. Again and again and again. But then came Easter Sunday. And everything changed. Catherine always hosted Easter at her huge mansion. She'd invite the whole family, make a big fancy meal, and hand out presents like she was some kind of queen. It was her favorite day of the year because everyone had to pay attention to her. Daniel and I showed up right on time. The house smelled like ham and fresh flowers. Everything looked perfect like always. Catherine was wearing a fancy dress and pearls, acting like she was hosting the president or something. The moment we walked through the door, Matthew gave Daniel a big hug. Sarah kissed his cheek. Catherine grabbed his hands and smiled so big. Then they all looked at me. And the smiles disappeared. "Oh," Catherine said, like she just noticed a stain on her carpet. "You came too. Not happy Easter, Emma. Not so glad you're here. Just you came too. Like I was some unwanted puppy that followed Daniel home." I forced a smile. "Happy Easter, Catherine." She didn't answer. She just turned around and walked away. Daniel didn't say a word. He just followed his mom into the living room like nothing happened. Matthew and Sarah did the same. And I stood there in the doorway, alone, wondering why I even bothered coming. Dinner was painful. Catherine sat at the head of the table, talking and laughing with everyone. She asked Matthew about his business. She asked Sarah about her kids. She asked Daniel about his new job. She didn't ask me a single question. Not one. It was like I was invisible. After dinner, Catherine clapped her hands together. "All right, everyone, time for presents." She walked over to a table covered in pastel gift bags. One by one, she handed them out, saying something sweet about each person. "Matthew, this is for working so hard. Fancy watch. Sarah, because you're such a wonderful mother. A gold bracelet. Daniel, my special boy. An envelope with cash inside. Even Sarah's kids got chocolate bunnies and new toys." Catherine handed out gifts to everyone. Every single person in that room. Except me. I sat there watching, my hands folded in my lap. My face was hot. My heart was pounding. Everyone was opening their presents, smiling and laughing. And then Catherine turned to me. She looked right at me with this little smile on her face. "Oh, sweetie," she said in a fake sweet voice. "I'm so sorry. I must have forgotten to get you something." The room went quiet for a second. Then Matthew laughed. Sarah giggled behind her hand. Even Daniel, my own husband, let out a little chuckle like it was some kind of joke. That's when something inside me broke. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just smiled back at Catherine. "That's okay," I said calmly. "I didn't forget about you." The laughing stopped. Everyone stared at me. I reached into my purse and pulled out a thick envelope. I stood up, walked over to Catherine, and handed it to her. "What's this?" she asked, her smile fading. "Open it," I said. I think you'll find it very interesting. Catherine's hands shook a little as she opened the envelope. She pulled out a stack of papers. Her eyes scanned the first page, then the second, then the third. Her face went from tan to white in about 5 seconds. What is this? She whispered. Matthew leaned over. Mom, what's wrong? I crossed my arms. Those are copies of property records, tax documents, bank statements. All public information, by the way. Catherine's eyes went wide. Where did you get these? The county office, I said. Took me a few weeks, but I found some very interesting things. Sarah grabbed the papers from her mom. She started reading, her mouth falling open. Mom! Sarah's voice cracked. What is this? Daniel finally spoke up. Emma, what's going on? I turned to him. Your mother has been renting out 3 properties downtown, making thousands of dollars every month. And she hasn't told any of you. Matthew stood up. What? Catherine's face was red now. This is private. You had no right. Oh, it gets better, I interrupted. Remember last year when Matthew needed money for his business? And you said you were broke? Matthew's face went pale. Mom! Or when Sarah needed help paying for her son's surgery. I continued. And you said you couldn't afford it. Sarah looked like she might cry. You told me you had nothing. Or how about when Daniel's car broke down? I said, looking at my husband. And you made him take out a loan because you said you were struggling? Daniel's jaw dropped. Mom, is this true? Catherine stood up, her chair scraping the floor. You little. I'm not done, I said, my voice steady and strong. Because there's more. See, I also found out that the family trust fund, the one that's supposed to be for all of you, she's been taking money from it. Money that's supposed to be yours. The room exploded. Matthew was yelling. Sarah was crying. Daniel looked like someone punched him in the stomach. How much? Matthew demanded, his face bright red. I pulled out another paper. About $200,000 over the last 3 years. Sarah gasped. Matthew's hands were shaking. Even Daniel, who never got angry, looked like he was about to lose it. Catherine tried to speak. I can explain. Explain what? Matthew shouted. That you've been lying to us. Stealing from US. I wasn't stealing, Catherine snapped. That money was for emergencies. Emergencies like your new CR? I asked, pulling out a receipt. Or your trip to France last month. Sarah covered her mouth. You went to France. You told me you couldn't come to my son's birthday because you couldn't afford the plane ticket, Sarah said, her voice breaking. Catherine's eyes were wild now, darting around the room. This is ridiculous. She's trying to turn you against me. No, Daniel said quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. She's telling the truth, isn't she? Catherine's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Isn't she? Daniel's voice boomed through the room. Catherine's shoulders slumped. Yes. The silence was so loud it hurt my ears. Matthew grabbed his coat. I'm calling my lawyer. Wait. Catherine reached for him. Don't touch me, Matthew said, his voice cold. You're done, Mom. Done. Sarah was already texting someone, probably her husband. Tears ran down her face. Daniel just stared at his mother like he'd never seen her before. Catherine turned to me, her eyes full of hate. You did this. You destroyed my family. I shook my head. No, Catherine. You did this. I just showed them who you really are. You're a horrible person, she spat. Maybe, I said. But at least I'm not a thief. Catherine lunged at me, but Matthew caught her arm. Get out, Matthew told her. This is your house, but right now, I don't want to look at you. Catherine started crying then. Real tears this time. Please, you don't understand. We understand perfectly, Sarah said coldly. You lied. You stole. And you made us feel guilty for asking you for help when you had plenty of money the whole time. Daniel walked over to me. For a second I thought he was going to yell at me too. But then he said, "Why didn't you tell me?" "I tried," I said quietly. "You never listened." His face crumpled. "I'm so sorry." "Sorry doesn't fix this," I said. "Your mom treated me like trash for 4 years. And you let her." "I know," he whispered. "I know. And I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you." I looked at Catherine, standing there in her fancy dress, her perfect hair now a mess, mascara running down her face. "You know what the worst part is," I said to her. "If you'd just been kind to me, I would have never looked into any of this. I would have just been your son's wife, showing up to dinners, trying to make you happy. But you couldn't even do that. You couldn't even pretend to be nice." Catherine said nothing. Matthew was already on the phone with his lawyer. Sarah was gathering her kids. And Daniel. He was staring at his mother like his whole world just fell apart. 'Cause it did. Within 2 weeks, Matthew and Sarah filed a lawsuit. The trust fund money had to be paid back. Catherine had to sell one of her properties just to cover it. Daniel and I went to therapy. He finally understood how much his family hurt me. How much he hurt me by not standing up for me. Catherine. She's still in that big house. But now she's alone. Matthew doesn't call. Sarah doesn't visit. And Daniel. He only talks to her when he absolutely has to. She tried to apologize to me once. Sent me a long letter about how she was sorry and how she didn't mean for things to get so out of hand. I threw it in the trash. Because some apologies come too late. And some people don't deserve forgiveness. Catherine wanted to make me invisible. Instead, I made sure everyone saw exactly who she was. And now she's the one who's forgotten. The one nobody wants around. Funny how things work out, isn't it? I learned something through all of this. When people treat you like you don't matter, sometimes you have to show them your worth. Not by begging for their love, but by standing up for yourself. And if they don't like it, that's their problem, not yours. Catherine thought she was untouchable. She thought she could treat people however she wanted because she had money and power. But money can't buy loyalty. And power means nothing when everyone sees the truth. I didn't destroy Catherine's family. She did that all by herself. I just turned on the lights. And sometimes that's all it takes.